Hello everyone and welcome to another video. As I've mentioned before, lightning/electricity is my favourite element, which inspired me to start the Lightning Only series. So today I'll be ranking every lightning attribute yokai in Yokai Watch 3. Huh? What's that? April Fool's Day? It's supposed to be unexpected and different? Oh, okay. Guys, give me a second. Alright, that's better. Today I'll be ranking every electric type Pokemon, but only fully evolved ones, as otherwise this video will be way too long, because it's already my biggest ranking yet, and I only have 3 days to finish this, though I will mention if I like a pre-evolution more. This ranking is based on anything. Appearance, typing, how good they are, anything. Though mostly appearance, as I haven't used a decent chunk of these guys. One more thing, keep in mind I've played everything Gen 6 onwards and nothing before that. With that out of the way, let's get into the ranking. Number 47 is Pawmot. Yeah, this is kinda expected. Pawmi's pretty cute. Pawmo is literally just Pawmi but standing up, and Pawmot is just Pawmo but a bit bigger and more hairy. There's also just something about the design that I just don't like, but I can't put my finger on it. Only redeeming thing here is the type. 46 is Stunfisk. I know the point of Stunfisk is to be pretty ugly, and it worked. Now, over the years, I have come to kind of appreciate Stunfisk's ugliness, which is why it's not last. I do also like the electric ground type. 45 is Pincurchin. Don't really care or have an opinion about Pincurchin, but I wouldn't say I dislike it. Number 44 is Minun. Plusle Minun are the least interesting Pika clones in my opinion. Their designs are alright, and they're pretty weak. Their skill, ability, is kinda cool, but not really, since other Pokemon get it now. Plusle is 43, I like the design a bit more than Minun. At 42 we have Sandy Shocks. Never really been a fan of some of the past Paradox Pokemon and I've always preferred the future ones, minus Iron Treads and the Swords of Justice. Though I will admit the way Sandy Shocks moves like a dinosaur is pretty cool, but other than that I don't really care about it. 41 is Electrode. Yeah, it's just a Pokeball upside down, but I still think it's cool. Though it's always confused me why the evolved form is upside down and the Prevo is the right way up. Wouldn't it make more sense the other way around? So it becomes a more effective mimic when it evolves rather than it being more obviously fake. Xurkitree is 40. Ultra Beasts are weird. That's the point. But some people don't like the point, which is okay, because I definitely do. Though Xurkitree isn't one of my favourites, I mainly like it because it's electric. Number 39 is Magnezone. I do quite like Magnezone and its type, and it works well as a Magneton evolution. Only reason it's this low is because I like others better. Thundurus is number 38. Never cared too much for the forces of nature, but I do think they're quite cool. Thundurus is definitely my favourite of the three because he's electric, and I like his colours more than the others. Number 37 is Dracozolt. The electric half would have definitely been much higher if it was on its own, but oh well. Dracozolt definitely looks more natural than the Vicious due to the parts being actually attached correctly, which makes me like it more. 36 is Alolan Golem. I used to really like Golem when I was younger. It's one of my favourite Kanto mons, and I do still like it, just not as much. I still like Alolan Golem more though, mainly because it's now electric, but also because it has more going on than just rock with head and limbs. Arctozolt is 35, definitely the most natural looking of the Galar fossils, which is why it's my favourite of them. That and I love the electric ice typing. It's so cool. Ha 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 ha. 34 is Pachirisu. I do quite like most of the Pika clones, and Pachirisu is no exception. It's just that I like the others more, because they have a unique typing. Still really like Pachirisu though. Speaking of Pika clones, the Molga is number 33. An electric flying Pika clone. They could not have picked a more perfect animal for this. Flying squirrels are much more interesting animals than regular squirrels, so I like it more than Pachirisu. Number 32 is Iron Thorns. Tyranitar is already pretty cool, and Iron Thorns is just Tyranitar but cooler. Like I said, I really like the future Paradox Pokemon, and Iron Thorns is among my favourites, though to be fair, I would probably say the same about a lot of the others. Back to Pika clones with number 31, Morpeko, or Morpeko, however you're supposed to say it. Morpeko is definitely the most unique Pika clone, with its ability to change forms every turn, which I quite like. Electrozark is also a pretty cool typing. I just like the others more design wise. 30 is Kilowattrel. Never really cared for Kilowattrel when Scarlet and Violet first came out over 2 years ago. Over these years, I realized how cool Kilowattrel is, especially compared to other regional birds. It's no Talonflame or Corviknight, but it's definitely up there. Number 29 is Electros. I mean, it's a cool electric eel thing that has no type weaknesses. Need I say more? 28 is Manectric. I'm running out of things to say at this point. You guys know I'm terrible at describing why I like things. You still watch these and request more. It's a cool electric dog with a mega. I don't really know what else to say. Hisuian Electrode is 27. I already liked regular Electrode, and this is a much more interesting version, not to mention it has my 2 favourite types. I love how they made Voltorb and Electrode look like Hisuian Pokeballs. Makes you think what they would have looked like even further in the past. 26 is Rotom. I quite like all the different forms and how they have a cool unique typing, not to mention the Rotom phone and bike from recent games, although the Rotom Pokedex I'm less of a fan of. I don't mind it all that much in the anime, other than the fact it's basically Whisper from Temu, but in the game, I literally just want to look at the map. I don't care about your funny faces or random dialogue. All I want is to look at the map. Now, will you just let me do that? 25 is Iron Hands. I really like how the hands are floating here, as well as the fact that it's a really good competitive Pokemon. Pretty cool Pokemon. Number 24 is Regieleki. Another cool legendary. I remember when the new Crown Tundra Regis were first announced, I was so shocked. I never thought they'd add new Regis. I do also like how you get them as well, having 2 different patterns to choose from for Regieleki and Regidrago. Oh yeah, Regieleki is also now the fastest Pokemon, that definitely gives it some points. Back to P-Clones with 23 Dedenne. Even though it is the same animal as Pikachu and the typing doesn't make much sense, I've always loved Dedenne. It might be to do with how much Dedenne was in the XY anime because I watched nearly all of that when I was younger, so I may have a bias. The last Pika clone at 22 is Togedemaru. Ever since Sun and Moon came out, I've loved Togedemaru for whatever reason. It was among my favourite Pokemon at the time, and I even had a plush of it. It might be the cute ball shape or something, who knows. Though the electric steel type is one of my favourite type combos, ignore that I put Magnezone so low, which is why it's still my favourite Pika clone today. 21 is Boltund, the better electric dog. Sword and Shield, despite their flaws, are one of my favourite Pokemon games. And you bet I had this guy on my main playthrough team. He was called Doge for some reason if you're wondering. 20 is Ampharos, pretty cool electric cheat from Gen 2 that also has a Mega, don't really know what else to say. Sticking with Gen 2, Lantern is number 19. It's mainly the type, it's not every day you get an electric water Pokemon. 18 is Galvantula. I used to never really care for Galvantula, but the more I've seen it, the more I realise this is a really cool looking bug type. Never used one, but I fully intend to when I play through Black and White. Number 17 is Electivire. I already really liked Electabuzz, and they just made it better. The Oni inspiration gives some points too. Another Pokemon I've used on playthrough team, number 16, is Bellibolt. You can't tell me you don't at least like Bellibolt. Ever since Bellibolt was first revealed, I knew I had to use one, and it ended up being the second most used in the playthrough. For those wondering, he was called Froge. Like Doge, but frog. I don't know either, don't ask. 15 is Raikou. Absolutely one of my favourite legendaries. I mean, he's a really cool saber-toothed tiger thing, and my favourite type, what's not to like? It always annoys me when people call these guys the legendary dogs. Like, ah yes, a leopard, a saber-toothed tiger, and a lion, my favourite dogs. All jokes aside, I guess Suicune and Entei are a bit more vague, but come on. Raikou is very clearly a saber-toothed tiger, you can't get much more obvious than that. Speaking of Raikou, 14 is Raging Bolt. Raikou and Raging Bolt were very close, but I gave the edge to Raging Bolt. They took an already cool Pokemon and turned it into a dinosaur, another very cool thing. This is absolutely my favourite past Paradoxmon. The only ones that come close are Walking Wake, Koraidon, and Roaring Moon, and it's also my third favourite Paradoxmon in general. Continuing with the theme of legendaries, Zapdos is 13. A classic, obviously my favourite of the legendary birds. I did use one on my playthrough team in Let's Go Pikachu for some reason, even though I already had Pikachu. But I did beat the game with that team, so who cares. Back to normal Pokemon, quite literally with number 12, Heliolisk. It's based off a really cool lizard, I like when the frills pop up, plus Cowl's bias, and no wonder Heliolisk is still among my favourites. Number 11 is Zebstrika. Remember what I was saying about how I'd use Galvantula on my team when I get around to playing black and white? That was a lie, because I have because I'd have Zebstrika instead, because I like them much more. Well, there's always black and white too for Galvantula. Just making the top 10 is Tapu Koko. I've always felt the Tapus are pretty underrated. I've always liked the Tapus, especially Tapu Koko. I remember when the Sun and Moon anime first came out, and Tapu Koko appeared pretty early on, which is the reason I liked it so much back then, and I have continued to appreciate Tapu Koko to the point where it's up there with my favourite legendaries. Speaking of, 9 is Zekrom. Like I've said, never played through Unova before, and I haven't used Zekrom in any game that I've caught one. It just goes to show how much I love the design. It's just a big, cool, menacing black electric dragon, there's not much else to say. Number 8 is Raichu. They took Pikachu, a cute and kinda cool Pokemon, and kept some cuteness and made it much cooler. I do love both Pikachu and Raichu, but I'd give the slight edge to Raichu. You know what's better than Raichu? Number 7, Alolan Raichu. They took Raichu and made it better and more interesting by adding the Psychic type. Plus the fact they love pancakes makes me love it even more. Number 6 is Vikavolt. Definitely by far my favourite bug type, and of course I use one on my Alola playthrough team. Look, I'm running out of things to say. I feel like I'm just saying the word cool like 50 billion times, but oh well. I bet this video is going to release and I'm all of a sudden going to think of something I should have said here. 5 is Toxtricity. Electric Poison is such a cool typing. I love the G-Max form as well. There's also the fact it's part of the band in Sword and Shield credits as well. I like both forms, but I much prefer Amped. Too bad I never used one, but I definitely will if I ever replay Sword and Shield. The last Electric-type legendary and Paradox Pokemon is number 4, Miraidon. By far my favourite Paradox mon, tied with Iron Valiant, and while not my favourite legendary, is obviously up there. When they were first revealed, I slightly preferred Miraidon over Koraidon, but over time, that slight preference became a major preference. The fact you get it right at the start and you ride it and unlock the abilities for it and as a major part in the story, it all helps me love it so much. I've of course used it quite a lot on my current Violet team and I will continue to use it. These last 3 are all in my top 10 Pokemon in general, starting with 3, Luxray. It's Luxray, do I really need to say anything? Usually I'd avoid using Pokemon on first playthrough that I've already used before, but I just couldn't resist not using Luxray in both BDSP and Legend Arceus. And I even caught a shiny one in Scarlet and Violet who's currently on my team. Speaking of, this whole line also has one of my favourite shinies. Now we're entering the top 2. Not only are these my top 2 favourite electric types, these are also my top 2 favourite Pokemon of all time. Number 2 is Jolteon. If you couldn't tell by this, the evolutions are one of my favourite groups of Pokemon. I love them all, but of course Jolteon has to be the best. I've literally caught one in every single Pokemon game I've played. Now I can't really say the same for any other Pokemon. If you're familiar with my live streams, you'll know I even have a Jolteon plush on my desk, as well as Banyan and Sans. Now Jolteon was my favourite Pokemon for the longest time, until a few years ago. This will be really obvious to some people, but number 1, my favourite Pokemon is Zeraora. They're just so cool. There's a reason I have them as my profile picture on Discord. Now I've always found Zeraora cool, but nothing too noteworthy until the Shiny Zeraora event in Pokemon Sword and Shield, where I got my Shiny Zeraora that I'm still using to this day. Ever since then, Zeraora has been my favourite Pokemon. Heck, I even made them a Ribbon Master because why not? Not to mention Zeraora's appearance in new Pokemon Snap. I'm pretty sure even people who dislike Zeraora can agree that they're extremely cool here. I guess they're also in Pokemon Unite, which I only really played because Zeraora was in it, and I haven't really played since the game first came out. There's also their backstory, where they were born from an explosion caused by a bolt of lightning striking an erupting volcano. Like, you can't tell me that's not cool. I haven't watched the movie they were in, but I do want to at some point. Well, that was every fully evolved electric type Pokemon ranked from worst to best. I know I didn't say much about a lot of these, but like I say, I'm bad at describing why I like things, which is why I haven't done a ranking video in ages. Though I'm not complaining, as I have 2 days now to finish this, and that just means less work for me. As usual, like and sub if you like this and want to see more, and comment your favourite electric type Pokemon. Not much else to say, so I'll see you in the next one. Now that that's over, I can finally go back. Wait, how do I do that? How do I even do this in the first place? Wait, am I still recording? I guess I'll have to become a Pokemon channel now if I don't get this sorted.